All right, MYB, thank you so much for coming back. Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast. We're here at episode number 174, Entrepreneurship, Real Estate, Trending News. There's no business like minding your own. Hopefully you had a marvelous day and you're ready to get into some great content today with our guest. He's all the way from California, the Central Coast. There he is the CEO of Premier Real Estate Group, as well as Friendly Flipper and the Friendly Flipper Academy. His name is Jeremy Rubin. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining, my man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me, Ron. I appreciate it.
yep, absolutely. So, of course, MYB, you know to subscribe to our podcast and share it. 5 star, 5 star, wherever you get your pods. Allows us to continue to grow the audience. And you know, we're brought to you by the Binge Podcast Network. Jeremy, let's dive in, man. A lot to get to. And we have a great audience of real estate professionals and people that want to get into real estate. And so I'm sure they're anxious to hear what you have to say. But man, let's start with your background. Where you're from, and yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself up to this point.
Sure. Well, I'm from Santa Maria, California. That's on the Central Coast. If you're
Yeah,
not familiar with California geography, it's basically halfway between LA and San Francisco.
that's
If you're
right.
to drop a pin right there, that's where I'm located.
Yeah,
And grew up out here since about 2000. And basically, went to high school out here, and this is where I've called home since then. And hey, the weather's too nice for me to leave or go anywhere else. So,
right. I bet it
and
is.
I doesn't have the traffic of LA, and doesn't have the hills of San Francisco. It's kind of a chill spot in between, and
That's awesome.
um, so that's where I've decided to build my business and build
Yeah,
it up from there.
yeah, excellent. And so you started out in the corporate world. So talk to us a
I
little bit
did.
about that, and kind of how that came about, and so to speak. What was your experience in the corporate life?
Yeah, so straight out of high school, basically started working actually while I was in high school at Circuit City,
Oh
and
wow.
got hired for holiday help one holiday season, and
Right.
I was basically in there organizing, like alphabetizing CDs
Yeah.
back in the day when people
Wow.
had CDs, and um, that led to a position there. They brought me on fully, not just for a holiday help, and
Yeah.
I became a product specialist. Talking about computers and digital cameras and printers and working in that area.
Sure.
And then shortly after, that's when Verizon Wireless started installing kiosks in circuit
Right.
cities.
That's right. Yep, I remember. We have them here in Memphis. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I was seemed to have some sort of a knack for sales. I didn't consider myself ever really like a born salesperson, but I just liked to. I was into the electronics. I was like, these are cool, so I was able to talk and speak to them, and
Right.
I always liked putting together solutions for customers, and um, so I was doing pretty well. Uh, it was always this competition of between me and a few other people there. How much gross sales could we do each month?
Right.
And then Verizon sees me doing that, and they're like, "Dude, you're doing this for $9.10 an hour, when you could be making commission for us." So then they recruited me, and then that was the beginning of what turned into an 11-year career at Verizon Wireless.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I pretty much got hired on just just out of high school,
Yeah.
um, and then that was basically like life for the next 11 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Jeremy, you probably got in at a time when Verizon's really kind of taken off. It sounds like that, given that time frame trajectory that you were mentioning. And I certainly remember, those times, right, with Circuit
Oh
City
yeah.
and when Verizon would have those kiosks and things like that. And so, you're progressing kind of through your career. What changed or what led you to real estate? Did you start while you were in the midst of that 11-year career, or did you just kind of stop your career cold turkey and then go into real estate, or kind of unpack that for us?
Sure, yeah. So, well, it started out as part-time sales, and then went to full-time sales, and then supervisor, and then management, and then the years kind of went by. I mean, it was kind of crazy how looking back, how many years had gone by. But um, I went to a junior college, and then Verizon had a great tuition assistance program, so I took advantage of that, and then went to University of Phoenix, and then ended up with a business degree. And I was like, well, I was kind of at a point where I can either continue on the corporate path,
Sure.
um, and try and climb the ladder and see what happens there. But over the years, I just saw that so many people had come and gone during the time of that career,
Yeah.
and it was a great job, and I really enjoyed it in the beginning. But as time went on, I kind of became disenchanted with it, and I, for a long time, didn't. I had this limiting belief, I guess you could say, where I thought that I needed that job. Like I thought that it was irreplaceable because probably because of not working for a bunch of different companies, just kind of really working for two.
Right.
So I was like really tied to it. But then at some point in my late 20s, I kind of woke up to, what do I do now? Like, okay, I'm going into this gray box every single day, and it
Yeah.
it kind of just turned into basically just clocking in to clock out every single day, and just
Right.
working for the weekends, and just really not enjoying the time there anymore. And I had this realization after seeing so many people kind of just getting hired and fired over the years, that
Right.
that there's really no stability. Like this, I had this false sense of security that you know that they had my back, and they really didn't.
Right.
I just happened to be you know performing enough so that they wouldn't I wasn't one of those ones that they ended up letting go.
Right.
And that's when it hit me. I'm like, well, actually, it seems like they need me more than I need them. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
this mindset shift of, wait a second, what's going on here? Maybe I actually do have some sort of skill set that I could apply to something else of my own. And I always wanted to have my own business, but I never really was sure what kind of business.
Right.
Um, so I had this, realization that I couldn't see myself doing it for another 40 years, to basically retire on, similar to what I was making, and just going down that path of, kind of the corporate path. Like
Right.
for a long time, I was on that path. And then I realized that, hey, I'm not happy with this. Like, it's not fulfilling. Like, it was a great job, but it was never the end goal to do that.
Right.
I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so once I realized that, hey, I don't have anything to fear of losing this job, because it could end any time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just that's kind of the way the corporate world is. So at that point, I started searching online for different types of businesses, a business that I could either start from home, or, basically how to make money online, how to, just exploring different things like day trading, affiliate marketing, before the days of e-commerce and Amazon stores. It was a lot of affiliate marketing stuff out there.
Right. Exactly.
And even an auto detailing business, and actually had an auto detailing business for a while,
Oh, really? Okay.
where we would go, and from about 7 a.m. to 11:30 in the morning on Saturday mornings, we'd go do a car wash at a country club, and then I would drive down about a half an hour away to the Verizon store, and I'd close the Verizon store from 12 to 9 p.m.
Wow.
and just trying to just work that hustle so I could get ahead, trying to get ahead basically.
Yeah.
And then eventually, um, I realized auto detailing wasn't my thing either. Like it wasn't. Yeah,
Right.
it was interesting
Yeah.
for a while, but not
Yeah.
again, not my like where I wanted
Right.
to see myself, going for 20 or 30 years. So I, went back to University of YouTube and kept searching around for stuff, and came across this video where this guy was talking about this concept of not flipping a house, but flipping a contract,
Mm-hmm.
or wholesaling is what
Right.
it came to be. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. So I started, learning everything I could on my lunch breaks, just listening to podcasts all the time in the car, and
Yeah.
searching bigger pockets, and well, really watching all the YouTube videos I could get my hands on, trying to piece together this concept of creative real estate.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any idea what it was before that. I didn't know, other than a traditional mortgage or paying cash, like if you're rich, basically, like I thought that was the only two ways people could buy houses. So I had
Right.
no idea about any of this creative stuff, and just kept learning and just taking step by step, really not knowing what the next, I mean, just really focusing on the very next step in front of me. And
Yeah.
this concept of like, I'm not really sure what I have to do steps like two through so many, but as long as I know what the very next thing is, I'm just going to keep taking action. And I just
Yeah.
kept doing that, and uh, got my first deal from a Craigslist ad, actually.
Wow.
And from there, yeah, basically posted an ad on Craigslist. I didn't have any, marketing experience. I didn't even know really where to spend money with marketing, and I didn't really have money to spend on marketing. So I hit up Craigslist, started posting basically "we buy houses" type ads,
Yeah.
and it actually worked. The subject line was "need to sell your house. I'm not an agent." ... And just I from what I'd gathered online, from bigger pockets and stuff,
Yeah.
um, I could pay cash for a house. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was going to
Right.
close on the day of their choice, and
Hmm.
they didn't need to do any repairs, and they weren't going to pay any commission. So I didn't exactly know how any of that was going to work, but I'm like, well, let's give it a shot. And
Right.
so posted the ad up, and uh, about 6 months later, just continued to post it. Made 7 different Craigslist accounts, and I really got after it,
Yeah.
and ended up getting a call from a seller, someone who wanted to sell a mobile home.
Okay.
And that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, like I wasn't expecting it, that's not the
Wow.
way, necessarily it was supposed to be. So, but I'm like, hey, an opportunity is an opportunity.
Right.
So
Exactly.
went out there, really didn't know what I was doing, and just knew that I didn't know how much to pay, didn't know, all I knew basically at that point was if I get it at a low enough price, someone will buy it for a little bit more.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so they were asking 89,000, and I knew I couldn't probably do anything at that price, so I offered them 50,000, and they said no. So I was like
Wow.
back to the drawing board, and just back to my job, feeling kind of defeated, but then just kept posting the ads. And a few months later, they actually called me back,
Wow.
and they're like, hey, we're really getting ready to move now, and we would consider your offer. And I'm like, awesome, great. So
Yeah.
then now what do I do? I'm thinking, what do I do now? I
Exactly.
gotta put it under contract. So I found, 2-page kind of generic contract online, and put a $10 earnest money deposit down, and still really, you know, just really figuring it out step by step as I went.
Yeah.
Um, Took pictures, wrote the best description I could, and put it
Sure.
up on Zillow, and back to Craigslist. And then it ended up actually finding a buyer through Craigslist,
Wow.
um, which there was people that looked at it that of course didn't want it, but eventually found somebody who wanted to use money from their retirement, their 401k, to buy a house for him
Sure.
and his girlfriend to retire in. And they ended up paying. I set it up for $59,000. That was what I put it for sale for,
Okay.
and basically I paid the closing costs for both sides in between, and just wanted to do everything I could do to make the deal come together. And
Yeah.
um, ended up closing and made a profit of $6,500, and it was
There
more
you
than
go.
I had ever made on any single Verizon check. And it was like, man, this is real. Like, this actually works. Like,
Right.
so
Right.
that's that was a major turning point.
Yeah, no, tremendous story, Jeremy. And I tell you, that's as common as it gets. I've come across a lot of people that have that similar story. I mean, they're in corporate America, and you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, you're making them a lot of money versus what they're paying you, and you just see, okay, is how long is that going to continue, right? And then, like you say, my first deal was very similar. I had
Oh
very
yeah.
similar first experience in real estate where I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants and I just made it work, you know. And I share that with people and with the mind your business community is, yeah, it's people use that term "fake it till you make it." I don't really care for that. I just think there's nothing to fake at all. You just go about doing it right, and you just what it takes to make it work. And so I love that, man. That's a tremendous story. So you get into real estate, right? So you do these first few deals and that sort of thing. Where did you find kind of your comfort level in real estate? Because it sounds like you had the sales. You know, you're willing to talk to people. You speak very well, and you're not afraid to have the conversation. And so, what did you find at some point where you got a comfort level and being able to do deals and that sort of thing?
Yeah. There's, I think, I mean, I just kept taking steps forward after that. And yeah, it really was just figuring it out as I went, especially for the first one.
Yeah,
But then I'm like, okay, this works. You know, it's not just people on the internet talking about it, because I didn't know anyone in my, that I was personally connected to that was in the creative real estate space.
sure.
Um, and so just kept taking action, and then took some money from that first check and put it into some marketing and started mailing out postcards,
There
because
you
that was
go.
kind of the next, uh, based on what I could find online. That's the next step. You start, sending out mailers,
Yeah,
and got into a little bit of I think a little more comfortable then, and did some more assignments, some more wholesale deals, and always with the goal of I wanted to flip a house. That was the main,
sure.
like I wanted to go in and do a fix and flip,
Yeah,
and um, so that's where that led to that marketing led to some more wholesales, and then eventually that first property that was a fix and flip opportunity.
yeah, yep,
Which, and
definitely.
then so then as soon as I kind of got comfortable with the wholesale thing, then I basically pushed myself into, you know fixing and flipping, which is quite a bit more complex, just a lot more moving parts,
Sure.
than an assignment. Um, but I'm like, hey, if I was able to figure that out as I went, then
Yeah, you could do that as well.
same thing here. Yeah, just keep taking action, just keep taking one step forward at a time, and um, figured it out
Yeah,
little by little.
there you go. Jeremy Rubin's our guest today on episode 174 of the Minding Your Business podcast. And Jeremy, you're exactly right. I mean, I started out in wholesale. Wholesale is a tremendous business. It's essentially what I call day trading real estate, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and basically assigning contracts. It's a great way to start MYB. I'm just telling you right now. Learn everything you can about wholesale real estate, especially now. Given today's environment, it's a great way to break in, especially if you're not prepared to leave your day job. You can do that while certainly doing what you're doing today, kind of like Jeremy mentioned that he did. And so do that, and then when you get to a point where you're ready to break away, then you'll know the right time. But no, Jeremy, that's tremendous. And so let's talk about that today. By the way, so obviously, January 1st, neither of us knew that we were going to be facing a worldwide pandemic with a virus, and then also racial injustice, coming to the forefront towards Black people, and how the protesting and all that has raised awareness, right, to racial injustice. Talk
Mhm.
about let's stick, I guess, to the COVID-19, right? Has
Sure.
that been an impact to your business, kind of leading from March kind of through now, or have you seen it increase or kind of remain flat or?
It's interesting. In We saw a little bit of a slowdown on the selling side during that period between kind of middle of middle to, of and really middle of March, when kind of the whole lockdown thing started, into about the end of April, about
Yeah,
6 weeks there, when everyone was kind of like, what's happening, on hold. And then people were kind of pulling their houses off the market.
yeah,
Showings pretty much came to a halt. There were no open houses. There still aren't open houses, but all that, when everything was shifting there, that's when it slowed down a little. Meanwhile, we still had 5 or 6 houses we were flipping at the time, like, so we're still, our construction crews are still out there renovating the ones we had. And that was the only really time we saw a little bit of a slowdown. Um, since then, it's been actually, it's interesting. The market here, especially when properties go up on the
Hmm.
market for sale, they're moving quickly. Like if as long as they're priced right,
Sure.
they're moving quick. Interest rates are helping that a lot. So the
Yeah.
people that are still looking to buy still want to buy, and it's a great time for them.
Sure.
And then we're actually seeing more now people wanting to cash out on on their that own homes that want to sell them now, that have equity. Um, they're also kind of coming along with I mean, the mindset is there where, hey, it's probably a good time to cash out because if they were thinking about selling, who really knows what the future may hold at this point. So,
Right.
if they can, get out, sell, and, make some money right now. So we're also fortunately still able to operate and buy homes too. So I would say
Sure.
overall, it's a great time actually to get into real estate. I mean,
Yeah.
there's tons of opportunities out there. Um, and it's all just about what strategy you're employing. I mean, you can make money in any market, a market that's going up or a market that's going down.
Absolutely.
um, People always need to buy, they always need a place to live, and people always need to have a reason to sell.
Yeah.
It's just about getting out there and connecting to enough people. And you know real estate transactions, they for people have countless reasons for wanting or needing to sell, way more than I could
Yeah.
even make a list of,
Sure.
and or that you could predict. But it's just about getting in front of enough people and making offers. That's what it
Yeah.
really boils down to.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And what I'd say even today, Jeremy, is and we're seeing this in Memphis. You may be seeing this in your market. Unfortunately, there's been high unemployment during this
Mm.
pandemic, and so what it's unfortunately now trickled down to is to the mortgage industry, where I believe in July, or I'm sorry, in June, there was like 32% delinquency or something like that for that month, which is fairly high, and of course that's
Yeah.
newsworthy. But unfortunately, that's the negative side of it. The positive side of it is there's people like you and me and many others around that are available to help from a real estate standpoint, whether it's help somebody stay in a home or help them be able to transition, maybe a little smoothly without the negative impact that
Hmm.
typically happens when you get into a delinquency state. Is that something that
Yeah.
you're seeing,
Yeah.
as well on your end? Because I'm certainly seeing that where there's opportunities for, whether it's some term business to buy and sell on terms, or even wholesale, where there's still this group of buyers that are out there that, like you mentioned, they always look to take. Not to say take advantage, but these times tend to create opportunities for them, just like they did in '08 and '09 and 10. Um, and
Yeah.
then there's people that have been adversely impacted or anticipate being adversely impacted, and those folks are able to come in and be resources to them. So, are you seeing that some in your markets where you do business?
Yes. And in fact, it's really what it is. I mean, there's situations where basically, you have someone who's got equity in their home, but say they lost their job. Now they're going to end up losing that equity if they don't do something now. So, it's probably may or may not, probably not the situation they would have, chosen in the beginning of the year. I think a lot of us wouldn't have chosen this
Right.
situation, but
Exactly.
um, it's considering the options. Basically, my job is to go in there and present different options and just really kind of educate, and then let them make a decision based on their current situation and ways that we can help them out, one way or another.
Yeah.
One that we did recently here is a we have someone who owns two homes, one that they live in, one they had a family member living in here. The other one's about 2 hours away. And they wanted to pay off their primary residence with this house that is here local to me that was a kind of a family rental.
Yeah.
And so we were able to work out actually seller financing on that, where it made
Excellent.
sense for them. And So we structured that, and with the proceeds, they're going to pay off. It's going to give them peace of mind because they're going to pay off their house that they live in. So that's taken care of. So they ended up cashing out on this second home, and creates a win-win situation. And the home needs some work, and they didn't want to go through the putting expenses in to be able to list it and sell it, and it really just worked out for them to be able to sell it as is. And we came up with a great, win-win solution where now they're going to have a paid off primary residence, some cash in the bank, pay off pretty much all their debt, and
Awesome.
I'll have a house to flip and, make some money too in the process.
Yeah. And so there's wins, again, all the way around. So it takes what could be kind of a crummy situation and then puts a huge positive spin in it for everybody. So, that's
Yeah,
tremendous. Jeremy, so, talk to us a little bit about Friendly Flipper Academy. Of course, I see that
sure.
you got the banner there in your background for those that are watching on YouTube or various video channels. You see that. Talk about that and link that to, for those, folks that want to get involved in real estate. During this time, is the academy a great place for them to start?
Yeah,
To learn the
absolutely.
skills and things like that necessary, and like you mentioned earlier, build the network, which is very important and critical to launching in real estate. And so, talk a little bit to us about the academy and that sort of thing.
Certainly. So the academy actually came about end of 2017.
Yeah,
Um, I had this realization that um, I could be doing more.
sure.
Real estate investing is awesome, and I love it. And it was how I was able to create my path to freedom. And I had a mentor ask me um, what my 10x goal was. This was after attending the first 10x growth conference in Miami in 2017. Um, Gentleman named Hank Norman. Um, he asked me, what's your goal? And I said, well, to flip 100 houses a year. And
Hmm.
he's like, well, that's great, dude, but what is that doing for everybody else? That's not a 10x goal. And so I was kind of like, wow, I thought, man, I thought it was a great goal. So it got me thinking, and like, how can I make a bigger impact?
Hmm.
And how can I help other people who are in that same position that I was in,
Right.
working for corporate America and wanting a path to freedom? But for me, it took about a year and a half to get some traction from the time I got the idea and or from a YouTube ad, and then kind of like pieced everything together. So I wanted to put everything in one place and be the
Yeah.
person that I needed when I was that guy that really knew nothing about real estate or contracting or anything. And so I built an academy, which is uh, everything A to Z, start to finish, from not just wholesaling and flipping, but structuring creative deals and helping people locate rental properties for their portfolios,
Sure.
um, and just incorporating everything that I've experienced through real estate and putting it all in one place. And so now um, we just hit, I think I've got 77 students in there now,
Cool.
and it's been growing steadily, and students are having success in there. And it's basically, everything from locating a deal to marketing to knowing how to analyze deals and create different solutions, and um, basically depending on whatever exit strategy the student is wanting to pursue, whether
Sure.
that's building a portfolio for rentals, or um, just something that they can build a bridge to go from the corporate world, or to leave their job to build a path to the next step. Um, I basically teach it all. So
Yeah.
I do one-on-one coaching with that. I also do some group coaching. There's an entire virtual platform online where all the knowledge and information is stored too, and resources, contracts, marketing materials, the whole bit. Um, and that's really become my mission, which is to help other people flip their lives like I flipped my own. So
Sure.
basically, help them, educate them with the world of real estate, because you know making money with real estate's awesome, but when I can help other people make money, like, it's just rewarding on an entirely other different level. to be
Without
able to
question.
impact
Yep, without
someone
question.
else's life.
Yep, absolutely. And NYB community, you can go to friendlyflipperacademy.com. That's in the show notes, friendlyflipperacademy.com. So you can connect with Jeremy and his entire team and
Yeah.
get involved with the academy. As he mentioned, he's got 77 students and growing. You can be 78 and ongoing to get involved and be part of the academy. It's a great way to learn. I learned in the same fashion, Jeremy, by having a mentor. And let me say that because having support and a mentor, it's tough to get into any business just on your own. And NYB, I want to share that with you because what Jeremy is presenting to you is this is an opportunity to network. And of course, in our world, we're able to connect very easily, much different than we could, say 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so now's a great time to connect with someone like Jeremy and his team and have a mentor, a coach, someone that can kind of help you walk through and talk through deals and help you get a comfort level with how to present, because that's the big piece of it is networking, being able to find deals, having paperwork and the legalities and all those things in order, sure, but then you need to have someone in your corner. It's a difficult business to get into on your own. I thought I was going to do that, and I quickly found out, even before I did my first deal, that I couldn't do it alone. And so I encourage you to go to friendlyflipperacademy.com and check Jeremy out there. Let's see. Fun question for you, Jeremy. If
Sure.
Obviously with you being in real estate, love to hear your answer on this. If I were to give you $100 million in cash, no strings attached, I just pull up the Brinks truck and say, "Here you go, Jeremy," and I just lay it on you. Here's $100 million. What would you do with it and why?
Oh man, 100 million, huh?
Yeah,
Well,
100 million big ones.
oh man. Well, let's see. I probably gonna give you a well, there's what I want to do with it, and there's what I should do with it.
Yep, always. Yeah, those always compete.
Oh man, yeah. So, well, first thing I would do is probably find. I would start by building. Well, my ultimate goal right now is to build a huge rental portfolio,
Sure.
and I think that that could get me started. That could that could help
Yeah, definitely
me
get you started.
accomplish that
Right.
pretty. I
Yeah.
could do some good stuff with that.
Yeah.
So but then again, I don't need 100 million. So shoot, I'd probably give half of it away and help other people get started.
There you go.
Um, and basically put it into low risk, um, probably A class buildings, something that's going to provide passive income. Because I mean, at that point, you're set for the rest of your life, and then you're
Sure.
just going to live off the rest of the income. And then, gosh, I mean, travel the world a bit. That's one of my biggest things that I want to do. But then also, I'm sure that'll only last a couple years till I see enough that I want to see, and by that point probably have new ideas and new adventures that I want to you know start to pursue and things.
Sure.
So
Absolutely. No, no, that's tremendous. I'm somewhat like that. If I had that type of money, I would, create vehicles and invest some to, create, like you said, that passive income. So I'd probably take, say 15 million and you probably convert that into, I mean, again, income for the rest of your life and then some. And
oh
then,
yeah,
the
way
other
more than
eight.
I would ever need.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's only 24 hours in a day, right? There's only so much you're going to do with the money. But I would
Yeah.
have kind of like a Shark Tank setup, and I'd be just investing in businesses, just all around the country of, I mean, people that, not really like star-studded type stuff, but just like everyday people that, you know, um, just want to make a better life for themselves. I'd
Yeah,
want to
no, for
go
sure.
into, communities and neighborhoods and just kind of set up this process where, you get me a plan that you're committed to, and that's viable for you, and then I'm the bank, I'm your funding arm,
Yeah.
and so that would be another way I could generate, but then also, like you say, help the community. So I'm kind of right there with you. You
Yeah,
know,
man. I
there's only
mean,
so much. Yeah, there's only so many places you can see, and only so much you can do when you got that kind of money.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it'd be good in one way, and in another way, it's like I want to earn it. Like I want to become the person that's going to be required, like that I'll have to become
Yeah,
to earn that.
yeah,
I mean, I love the journey. Like I truly love like the struggles, the good times, like everything because shoot, at the end of the day, I can't take it with me. I live a pretty minimalistic lifestyle as it is because I'm pretty focused on just building and making an impact, but that could definitely help make an impact with for more people too. So
yeah, no doubt about it.
if you
Um,
could send the check to no, I'm
yeah,
just
right. They say it's gonna be cash, man. I'm rolling up with
oh,
the
even
truck.
better.
Yeah,
All right.
just to make sure you take care of the IRS. That's for sure. With today
Oh
being
yeah.
tax day here on
Oh
July
yeah.
15th,
That's right.
you have to make sure you take care of Uncle Sam. Um, yeah, this has been tremendous, Jeremy. Man, I really appreciate it. It's great to connect with you here. As we kind of wrap up, what are one or two best practices that have really worked for you that you think will work for others?
Oh
You've
man.
done what a lot of people aspire to do. And so, what's one or two best practices that have really worked for you that you think will work for others?
In general, I would
Yeah,
say take a look at your life. A lot of people want to add a lot of things to their life and keep adding and adding and adding to get to the next level. But I found that I've made some of the greatest strides by removing things from my life that have been holding me back.
sure.
Um, and basically working on replacing, constantly evaluating my activities. We're the sum of our activities that we do throughout our day. So looking at those things and really evaluating, like, what's the return on them? And at the end of the day, am I spending my time on things that are propelling me and helping me? Or are these things like, taking away? Are they dragging me down? I
Yeah,
mean, a ton of it, I think, has to do with mindset and whether any business that you go into. I mean, there's really nothing to be afraid of leaving
yeah,
your corporate job. You can always get another job. If you have one now, you can always get another one.
sure.
You've only got one life to live. Every single moment that goes by is a moment you're never going to get back.
Yeah,
And you've really got no reason not to pursue your dreams. I mean, just it's all about just building a path and then making a plan and going for it and just taking massive action and getting around the right people that can, help you out along the way if you have a question. But all the answers are out there. And yeah, I mean, just more and more, for me, more and more, it's just been about working on focus and energy and really protecting, growing, and developing my energy. I
yeah,
mean, um, like law of attraction stuff is real, but you got to work for it, obviously. But
of
like
course.
it's all about positioning yourself and putting yourself in places that will lend itself to opportunities presenting them to you, and
Yeah,
just keep taking action, massive action in one direction, and things will start popping up that you didn't necessarily expect, but it's all part of the journey.
yeah. Absolutely. And respecting the journey is definitely something that I think we all have to take to heart. Sometimes, like you mentioned, we want to rush to get to a certain point. We have dreams and, we want to, like you say, add all these things and we want to get there ultra quick. But sometimes you just have to appreciate the journey. And you and I are the same in that, Jeremy. We have to, as guys that, take action. And even when we stump our toe, right, or have setbacks, oftentimes I know I've found opportunities and great things have happened for me by just being the guy that shows up when others aren't there,
Yeah,
right? I'm the one that's
absolutely.
willing to step out when everyone else is still, tinkering around on the computer or Google searching or saving everything to flash drives and all that type of thing. Or, yeah, I'm the one that's actually going out and doing stuff, and I may stump my toe or come up a little short, but if I keep going, typically I found success, and it sounds like you've done that too, man. So, yeah, definitely congratulations on your success, man. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
remain
you.
in touch. If you ever make it out here to Memphis, I'll get you some barbecue and a beer.
Oh man, sounds awesome.
Yeah, you got to get out here, man. It's a great place to invest here in Memphis, of course, if you haven't already. So,
I haven't, no, but I look forward to taking a look and heading out there, and that
yeah.
sounds great, man.
Yeah, great opportunities here. So yeah, so Jeremy Rubin's our guest today on the Minding Your Business podcast. He is the CEO of Premier Real Estate Group. There in the Central Coast of California, and the owner operator of Friendly Flipper Academy. Make sure you go to friendlyflipperacademy.com. Jeremy, man, it's been a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much.
Oh no,
Again,
absolutely.
yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and let's remain in touch. You never know when a deal comes around, and we might can hop on something.
Definitely. Champ Ron, thank you for having me. Much
Yep.
appreciated, man.
Excellent. Yeah. So that was Jeremy Rubin, our guest today here on episode 174. Hey, listen, MYB, make sure that you go to themybpodcast.com to get more content and also look at our online directory. We're continuing to grow that. Shout out to everybody who has added their business information to our directory. And as I mentioned, those are businesses that have been vetted and have the Champion stamp of approval on them. And so those that link to that directory is going out through my various network channels and 11 state banking associations. You know, bankers have been doing a lot of PPP lending. There's a lot of money out there. They've got disposable income. They need to know about your business. So email me, Ron, at the MYB podcast and look to get in the directory. BrandPod, your brand's voice amplified. Now's the time to launch your podcast. Jeremy knows all about that. Of course, yeah, I know about that, and you do too. So if you've got your podcast idea, you've been sitting holding on, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, constantly putting it off. No need to put it off. I'll be your podcast partner. I will help you through idea generation, the type of equipment that you need, the type of podcast that you want to do, how to get it out to the various networks, and ultimately how to launch. Own your content. You don't own your content solely on social media. Social media is a great tool, but it's a real estate company, right? Facebook's a real estate company. They own digital real estate. When you didn't read those terms and conditions, did you? Hell no, you
Ah,
didn't. Because I didn't. None of us did, right? So, you know, they own that content once you post it. So you should own your end of the content as well. So launch your podcast. Go to brandyourpod.com. That's brandyourpod.com. Schedule a free consultation with me. Doesn't cost you anything but just 20 minutes of your time. We'll talk about it. We'll see if there's a good fit, and then we'll move forward from there. But you can afford it, and you need to do it. Now's the time. People are looking for new content, and you have it. You have a voice. And so let's amplify that voice. Brandyourpod.com. Listen, I'm going to get out of here. Champ Ron, episode number 174. Again, entrepreneurship, real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. Go be great for yourself, be great for your family, and be great for your community. Peace to you.